Hi, this is Kyle, and I've taken forever to get back to this Iron Mario Maker thing, and I apologize for the delays. There's a lot going on with me personally right now. That's not an excuse for not providing enough resources. I think I am providing enough resources. I just like doing more. I know there's some people who like to engage more, and that's why I'm doing something as silly as something to facilitate a certain way of making Mario Maker levels, which do not apply to the majority of my students, I'm aware. Anyway, I want to continue with this. This is basically tied to week 2 and talking about the event handlers and a little bit of the C sharp coding, and that's the emphasis here. We are working from this plan using the user interface I already created. The user interface is all set up. You can see the presence of the hotkeys here. We got the ampersand on the text so that like getting to each of these text boxes can be done with a single alt and key click. The buttons can be activated the same way. So we got randomize. There's a hotkey on Z. You know what I noticed is kind of funny. I put an exclamation mark here and it doesn't show up. Yeah, there we go. Let's distribute these again. There we go. The buttons are a little bigger. Little Actually, only one of the buttons is bigger. Whatever. I'm going to leave it like that. I told you I wasn't going to mark you on that. So Alt Z activates randomize, Alt R activates reset, and Alt X activates exit. And I have something like pseudocode here. And I'm going to use this to create the event handlers. Now, the exit button is as easy as it was during our class in week 2. Exit button is one line of code. I made reference to me close form, and yeah, that's the same. The reset button is going to clear the text boxes. It says all 3. I guess technically there's 5 check boxes. I ended up revising the plan actually since this pseudocode, so I should revise the pseudocode. There's 5 text boxes to clear if you want to clear things. Put the cursor on the randomize button. That makes sense. That's the first thing any user is going to want to do. So that should be pretty good. Writing those 2 event handlers is easy. Now the really hard part is going to be the calculate button. It says to indicate a bunch of constants. Now the game styles, basically there's like a grass style, a ground style, an underground style, like an ice style, a desert style, a castle style, a ghost house style, and each of those have a daytime and a nighttime version. So you could name the 10 different game styles, or sorry, that's course styles, or and then day and night, or you could name it as 20 different styles. And my hope is to keep building on this demo through the semester, time permitting. And unfortunately, I'm getting a little behind already. But what I want is, for example, using arrays. If you think of what you already know about arrays from Python, for example, you can see how using arrays would make selecting different game styles, different course styles, different parts much easier than just setting values. So I'm going to set it up. I'm not going to code it 100% because it's not going to be a good fit the way we're doing it. But once we get using arrays, which is kind of a week 3 topic for us, we're basically in week 3 now. And once we get using functions, we'll be able to neaten up this code a lot. For now, let's kind of get it working. We'll focus on the part we can focus on, and we'll make it better later. So let's do the easy ones first. I did say, perhaps somewhat humorously, in week 2, I like to do the exit button first because it feels like I've got a third of the work done. And so I'm going to do exactly that. I'm not just joking. Oh, apparently I had already coded that one. And if I want to put a code in here, this is exits the application. My typing surface is bad here. Hopefully I'm not jostling the camera too much. We'll see. Okay, now I make one for the reset button. All the reset button has to do is clear the input fields. And there are no input fields. So it's going to clear the output fields, which is still a good thing to do. We'll blank out the form when we click reset. It'll make a sort of sense. And in the pseudocode, I also said put the focus back on the randomize button. I think that's a good idea. I think if I add more controls and I have a plan to add a few more things later, this button will start to make more sense. But for now, let's get it so that it clears those text boxes. So we're going to have, for example, um, since I've named them all with text box, which is a good idea, we can just call the text box. We start typing text box, and then the Microsoft's IntelliSense feature kicks in, and it lists all the things that start with text box. And if I type the dot, it starts to show all the text box methods. And that makes it really easy to identify, is there a clear method, or do I have to change the text property? No, there's a clear method. That makes this very, very easy. And you can see, a whole list of methods and properties related to text. It's a huge list. These, the things that the library is doing behind the scenes, the things that the framework is doing, are enormous. The amount of functionality that's just available to us is really big and impressive. And you know, you can set text to blank in different ways. Here, this works. This works. This is clearing all 5 text box controls. But I could do it a bunch of different ways too. I could set the text property equal to quote quote. That's the exact same thing, technically. I can do this. I can set the text property, whoa, maybe if I learn how to type, equal to string.empty. String.empty is a member of the string class that returns an empty string. And it's nice because it's not a hard-coded string. In week 2, I was talking a little bit about constants and my use of constants and not using literals at all. And so, I mean, technically, quote, quote, is a string literal. I don't care. I'm not going to force anyone to type string.empty instead of quote, quote. I mean, technically, either of these are a little messy compared to just calling the clear method. But we talked about the clear method doesn't exist for labels. Anyway, I consider all of these ways of clearing a text box's text property to be fine. They're all fine. If I were going to say that one is better than the others, I would say string.empty is a little bit cleaner looking than quote quote, but I think it's some seriously semantic nonsense that we, if this is our biggest concern as programmers, then we're already perfect programmers, right? So let's just say we don't care. And I did say we were going to set the focus to the randomize button, so let's do that. Button randomize, focus. We open parentheses, close parentheses. That just shows that it's a method of some sort or a function. And then semicolon at the end of each line. So that's done. And I might comment it up a little bit. I might say here, I'll get rid of these parameters. I might say reset the form to its default state. What do you notice about the 2 lines that start these 2 event handlers? Have a look at those while I take these comments. What do you notice about those 2 event handler lines? What's different about them? What's different about them is the name. This is the auto-generated name that happens for the default event handler. And that's fine. You know, it just means I double-click the button, which is nice to get in there and get doing it quickly. But this is one of those things where the auto-generated name, and you can actually see it here, like the IDE itself, Visual Studio itself, is saying a naming rule has been violated. The auto-generated names are a naming rule violation. It's very strange. But method and function names are supposed to all start with capital letters, and technically, for proper Pascal casing, they shouldn't have an underscore anyway. So this one I named correctly. This one I used the default name. If you have a default name, first of all, your professor may or may not care. I usually don't. I don't know what Clint would say. But if you wanted to fix this, to get everything just perfect, there's an easy way to do it that's built in that should work, barring one of those stability issues we've been talking about. So if I select button reset click, and I right click it and I go rename, this is kind of like a mass rename. It finds all references to this exact name in all files in the project. And so it's going to find the 2 references to button reset click. Where those references are, one is the one I'm looking at, and one is in the designer code that I told you should probably never really mess around in. And so if I wanted to change this to reset click, I just type reset click, I click apply, and it is done. And that name has changed, and the one in the designer file has changed. So now, well, it's renamed, and it's beautiful, and it matches the style guide, and the IDE has stopped complaining at me. Everything's wonderful. There we go. 2/3 of the functionality is complete. We're doing excellently. Now, that last third of the functionality is, of course, the only real complex part. It's on this randomize button. And I'll show you again how to set up an event handler where you specify the name. You can even specify the event, like usually on a button, and in this case, we want a button you click on. And that's pretty much always the case, which is why it's the default event handler anyway. But if you want to get the naming right from the start, you can, in the properties window, for that button, so you have that button selected, you click on this lightning bolt icon, you'll see the list of events, and then right here where it says click, you can type the name of the event handler the way you want to name it. So if I type randomize click and I hit enter, that creates the event handler here. And if I wanted to organize these, I can actually do that with some careful copy pasting. Kind of like this. Just to have the first one first, and the second one second, and the third one third. Functionally, there is no difference. It's just a matter of organization and one's preference. Oh, I never put a comment header on here. I'll do that before we finish up. Okay, so randomize click. What is randomize click going to do? Let me grab the pseudocode here. It says calculate button. That's funny. Okay. I'm going to paste this all in because it's valid comments anyway. So this is a complex function. What am I even doing here? What am I doing with my life? Okay. We're going to have a const int number of game styles equals, and we're looking at Mario 1, Mario 3, Mario World, New Super Mario Bros. U. We're going to skip Mario 3D World because all the parts are different. It would be too hard to implement right now. Then we got const int number of course styles. And in this case, I said in a way there's 10 and in a way there's 20. This will be a lot easier to code if we do it for 10. So let's do 10, and we'll regret it later, but we'll see. And now const int number of parts. This part is going to be complex because I made, in my planning document, a list of all the parts in Mario Maker 2. And one of my sons is coming over here to peek because he's like, oh, Dad's talking about Mario Maker. This is relevant to me. This is why we're doing this. It's for the children.
Thank you.
Okay. So the number of parts, and I think I even already eliminated the Mario 3D World parts. It's I think it's like 120 or 140 if you count some of the like variant parts that exist. So there's no way we're going to write 140 if statements. So we're going to need to take some arbitrary subset to get this to work the way we want. What are we going to pick? You know what? Let's make it so that we only care about power-ups. Okay? That's a fairly arbitrary choice. I'm going to pop that in here. We're going to say we only care about power-ups. All right. So style-specific power-up 1, we'll work with that. We'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 power-ups. We can work with that. 15 power-ups. That sounds good. All right. Generate a random number between 0 and the total number of game styles. So what we're doing here is we're going to generate this random number. We're going to call this something along the lines of int game style, because here we are selecting the game style, equals, oh, I never declared the instance of the random class. In fact, I didn't make any notes about this or anything. So I don't want math.random. I want random. Okay. Is it a integer? Integer. Random. Oh, wait. It's random. Random value equals new random. Does it want to... what's the overload for this? Is it a seed? Yeah, you can put in a seed value. If I put in a seed value, we'll always get the same random numbers, and that's not what we want. So let's just do this. Random seed. It's perfect. You guys are probably familiar with that kind of thing. Anyone who's played Minecraft or anything of that sort. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say random value dot, and any instance of the random class. And this is a new thing we're talking about here. We haven't talked about random number generation, although we could. But basically this is, the random is a class. We make an instance of the random class. We're assigning it to this name called random value. And we're going to say, anytime we call random value, that's referring to this seeded random number. And by getting the next random number, we're, oh, what did I do here? Oh, I did something. I think that was an errant double click. For each random number, we're going to do things. And it's possible to do this third overload, int random.next, int min value, max value. So what I'm going to say is I want a value between 1 and 4. So I'm going to start at 1. 1 will be my minimum value. My maximum value will be number of game styles. And this is nice because then if I want to include Super Mario 3D World, or if we start incorporating other game styles, we only have to change that constant in one place. So we're avoiding some of those numeric literals. It's just better coding practice. Use a series of if statements to compare the random number to determine the game style. This part's going to get messy, right? We're going to need either a buttload of constants or a buttload of hard coding. I'm going to go with hard coding for now, a little bit, keep it simple, okay? So I'm going to do here, if game style equals 1. Now, this is the event that the random number between 1 and 4, and they're whole numbers because the data type is integer, but it's for when the game style, Wyatt, if you're going to stand here, you can't hum, okay? It's for when the game style is set to 1. And so I'm going to go in order. I'm going to say that's Super Mario Brothers. And so what's going to happen here is I'm going to, well, maybe I'll just set the value in the text box. Text box game style dot text, the text property of that text box becomes equal to Super Mario Bros. Else, and this is only evaluated if the game style isn't 1, if game style equals 2, well then that's going to be text box game style dot text equals, and the second game style in Mario Maker 2 is Super Mario Bros. 3. They skip 2. Just like Microsoft, the naming is maybe a little bit suboptimal. If game style equals 3, then text box game style dot text equals, well, next one's going to be Super Mario World, which was, you know, sort of the fourth main Mario game. And then we jump a little bit. We go completely nuts here. And that's because of Nintendo's naming of things, which is also a little imperfect. I mean, why do you call something new Super Mario Brothers? It sounds awfully silly after 20 years have passed. But whatever. If the game style's 4, what value do we set the text box to have?
I'm not a professor.
Super Mario Bros., Super Mario 3, Super Mario World.
Super Mario.
Yeah.
Super Mario U.
Text box game style. He says he's not a professor. The fact is, he doesn't know C#. He's only done a little bit of Python. New Super Mario Bros. U is the full name of that game. Tristan, you can't play with loud toys here, buddy. Okay. We have set the game style, and this is testable. Should be testable. We'll have to see if it's, roughly equal. We have no very good way to test this because random numbers have enormous seeds. That's another thing you would know from Minecraft if you're experienced with Minecraft. But if I hit randomize, we get a random game style. And sometimes it's the same one consecutively. Do you see that? I mean, it's only a random number between 1 and 4. Do we actually get all of them? New Super Mario Bros. U never happens, is what I notice. So it's never actually hitting 4. That suggests to me that we probably need to bulk up the constant here. There's a few ways to do this, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change all my numbers. I'm not going to put an arbitrary +1 in there. I'm just going to change these indexes. Most indexes are zero-based indexes anyway. So these are now random numbers between 0 to 4, but not inclusive on the 4. So here I am clicking randomize and reset. And it's working nicely. Okay. And the exit button works. What a treat. Now we do the same thing for course styles. I had said course styles are awkward because there are 10 of them. And I don't remember what the 10 are. But it's going to be almost the exact same piece of functionality. For that matter, we can use the same random number. So I can go here, int course style. equals random value dot next 0 number of course styles. Okay. And then I make a series of if statements just like I described there to determine the course style. This is going to be a longer and more awkward chain of if and else. You can already maybe see, you can maybe already picture how arrays are going to simplify this logic. Course styles. We got ground. Is it called ground, Wyatt?
Pretty sure.
Okay, what's the next one? Underground?
Yeah.
What's the next one? Ghost house? There was ghost house, there was castle. And then we need many more of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So castle 4, 5. I do believe there's 10 of these. 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got a random number from 0 through 9 representing them. After castle, we got sky, we got snow, we got desert, we got airship. Airship was in the first one. I don't know how I forgot that. There's more, isn't there?
Yeah.
Underwater.
Oh yeah.
And there's a jungle forest one. Is it called forest or jungle?
Forest.
Forest. Okay. There's our 10 game styles. Or 10 course styles. Sorry, I need to change all the instances right here of game style to course style. Now this is me using some crappy copy paste to save a little bit of work. It's sloppy. You shouldn't do things like that. Do as I say, not as I do. There's no reason you shouldn't do that, really. So anywhere it says game style, uppercase, change it to course style. Just within the selection. There we go. 20 occurrences. 20 occurrences is exactly what I wanted. Oh, and my casing is bad. But you know what? That's still easier to fix. Was this the most efficient way to write this? Absolutely not. We are not dealing in efficiencies right now. If we were dealing with efficiencies, we would be using arrays and functions. We wouldn't be messing around with gigantic if structures. The other thing we can do is... And it's awkward because you normally wouldn't declare a variable here. I might want to change that. But you might want to do this. Day or night. And make it a random number between 0 and 2. And so that means it's either going to be 0 or 1 because that top value isn't inclusive. And do this. If day or night equals 0 equals 0. You have to say equals. That's the same as in Python. Then text box course style dot text plus equals, and that's a concatenation, and we'll add in there day. Else we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to add in night. This is sloppy. Like, I mean, this part's less documented than the other parts. I don't like that I have declared a bunch of variables in the middle of the body of code. That's not the right thing to do. So I'm going to end up moving all my randomization efforts to the top. Going to be kind of like this. Let's see how it's working right now. We should be getting a random game style and a random course style. I think it'll work. I might need to make the text boxes a little bigger. Look at this. As many combinations of Mario level types as we want. This is just nice for knowing where to start. It doesn't give you any theme parts yet. And we're going to see reasons why that's awkward, if you haven't already determined why that's awkward. So I said we were going to include 15 different power-ups. This is 10 different courses. So the reason I say this, of course, is that this is going to be a lot of if statements. It's awkward looking. Let's do it anyway. I said we were going to do it. Let's do it. Oh, this is going to be hideous. Hideous. Okay. For each course part requested, generate a random number. All right, so here's how this is going to work. Right here, we're going to have... And these could be one number, it should be noted. I'm going to not. There might be reasons we want to use this later. Primary part, secondary part, band part. And this is from 0 to number of parts. There you go. We got 3 identifiers for the parts. If we were happy just outputting the number, we could do that right now really easily. But we're not. We have to look up the name for the part based on the value that's assigned to these. It's awkward. It is awkward. We will fix this later. I've talked about there's ways to make this a lot nicer. We're just not there yet. Okay, I'm going to steal this. Just like this. Okay. If primary part equals 0, then text box primary part dot text equals style specific power up 1. If primary part equals 1, text box primary part dot text equals, well, I guess it'll be style specific power up 2. I'm going to make that a little nicer in a short time too. But we're going to need to do this exact thing for the secondary parts and for the band parts. I think I'll get one of them perfect, and then I'll do a little copy paste. Maybe I'll pause during that so you don't have to watch it, because it'll be hideous. All right, so we have to do this for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If anyone is programming realistically, professionally, and they copy paste the same thing that many times, something's gone wrong. And so it sounds like I'm decrying my own practices, but I'm trying to demonstrate using only the tools we've discussed so far in this course, so we're not going too deep. Big mushroom. Isn't big mushroom also a style-specific part? It is. That's awkward. Isn't it? Wait. Big mushroom. Oh, so this is super mushroom. Super. We all know super mushrooms, right? Super mushroom. They're called super mushroom. Wait, there's super mushroom down here. Oh, there's a redundancy in the list. I don't like it. All right. This is ultimately going to be a good thing, because now instead of 15 parts, it's 14. Hooray. All right. Coin. Goody. We'll make a level based around coins. I've seen enough of those. Fire flower. Frozen coins. Frozen coins, you can make a pretty cool level around that. I've done that. Master sword. This one is it's Mario 1 specific. Multi-coin. That's not very exciting, but sure. It could be with the release with a victory condition, you know. Pink coin. Pink coins are key coins. They're very fun to play with, actually. You can make a level based around pink coins. Lots of people do. This is Shoe Goomba / Yoshi Egg. In the first 2 game styles, it's a Shoe Goomba, and in the last 2 game styles, it's a Yoshi Egg, and that's because Yoshi didn't exist in the franchise for a while. And then Stiletto Goomba / Big Yoshi Egg, or Red Yoshi Egg. That's sort of similar, although both of those things are a little bit sort of maybe made up. All right, Super Mushroom. That was in there, but I messed with that. Superstar. You can make a really good star-based level. Super Ball Flower. Those are great fun if you've never tried that. It's right out of Super Mario Land 1. And that's that. Golly. That's a lot of if statements. And we're not done yet. Why did I delete that? I need that. Okay, come back. Okay, so when you get style specific power up 1, you get a different power up depending on your game style, right? And so we can make nested if statements that deal with that. Let's check that out. All right, so if game style equals 0, then this is a big mushroom. Big mushrooms were invented for this game. I mean, they're sort of based on the mega mushrooms from New Super Mario Bros. We'll just put the else in there to save a tiny bit of processing. Only one of these values can be true, obviously. Super Leaf was in Mario 3 exclusively. It's not in the other games. It's in some other games, I suppose. Super Mario 3D Land and 3D World. Cape Feather. Love Cape Feather. And if it's game style 3, then it's a propeller mushroom. My son, who was playing here earlier, or standing here earlier, New Super Mario Bros. Wii was his first video game, and so I think about propeller mushrooms in the context of that game a lot. So if primary part is 0, we get a specific output based on the current game style. Look at this comment. Without using arrays or functions, this part will be disgusting. Welcome to the disgusting part. This is just super disgusting. What programmer thought this was a good idea? This is not a good idea. They added in an update the SMB2 mushroom, which makes Mario behave as if it's Super Mario Bros. 2, which, for those of you in the know of Mario games, you know, it is a very, very different style of game. Super Acorn. That was cool. That was just from New Super Mario Bros. U. Okay. I'm leaving those comments in there. They're not hurting anyone. The rotten mushrooms only come out at night. So we can actually use an if statement for that as well. Hey, why? Do rotten mushrooms exist for all the different course styles or only certain course styles? As long as it's night, is it always a rotten mushroom? Okay. There's no one-ups at night. That is why night is a scary time.
Yeah. The one-ups are replaced with the rotten mushrooms.
Yeah, you don't want to try and get a one-up at night. All right. So here we have one-up mushrooms during the day and rotten mushrooms during the night. So again, it's a little bit responsive to the game style. This is part 2. Look at this. I haven't been incrementing these counters. If primary part is 0, primary part is 1, primary part is 2. Here we got coin is 3, fire flower is 4, frozen coin is 5, master sword is 6. Interesting thing with master sword, if it's master sword, then guess what? The game style is changing to Super Mario Bros. Because it's not supported in the other game styles. So we're just going to force that. And there's another one where we'll have to do that as well. The Super Ball flower. Okay, 7. These are all hard-coded. This is utterly disgusting. I'm not going to tell you this is the best coding ever. This is going to be so much nicer when we get to arrays and functions. The number of parts, I do need to change that value so it goes up to 14. Okay. We can do one of these things here with the Shu Gooba Yoshi egg. We're going to do if game style, because it's the first 2 game styles, we can do it like this. If game style is less than 2, it's a Shu Goomba. A Karibo's Shu. And else, it's a Yoshi egg. And we should never see any kind of conflict in that, right? And we'll do basically the exact same piece of logic for part 10. This is a Stiletto Goomba, which is hilarious. That was made up for Mario Maker. And a big Yoshi egg, which is also a red Yoshi egg. Red Yoshis come out. So that should work. This all looks pretty good. That'll set the primary part. That'll set the primary part. It only uses power-ups. We're not incorporating 100 things. That's absurd. We'll get there eventually. Maybe when we're using arrays, this will be a little nicer, right? Um, let's see how this works for setting the primary. Look at that. We get a random game style. We get a random course style. And I'm going to keep clicking this until I get the Master Sword. The Master Sword, if you're not aware of this, it makes Mario behave like Link from Legend of Zelda, except they gave him kind of a pretty rich move set, so it's a very different game. Actually, I should also accept the SMB2 mushroom. What I want to make sure is that the game style is properly being set.
Why am I blasting wood?
Super Ball Flower. That's one of them too. So that's good. So it's Super Mario Bros. Master Sword. Super Mario Bros. Yeah, okay. So here we go. This is good. I think going through and doing the second part would be a big waste of your time, so I won't do that. But you can see it's going to be literally the exact same logic, except everywhere where it says primary part and text box primary part, it's going to say secondary part and text box secondary part. Now, if this decision functionality was moved into a function, I could call the exact same piece of code in more than one place. But because it isn't, I would do more of this awful copy paste. Not coffee paste. I could go for some coffee paste right now. So this is pretty good for, proof of concept, showing you how this works. We have now an Iron Mario Chef facilitation engine working. But there's definitely some optimizations possible, and we will continue to work on that. This is pretty good for now, right? We got our if statements. We got to review that. We got some nested if statements. We introduced random, which you won't need in my course. Use of constants. Oh, need a comment header in here. When did I start this project? Author, Kyle Chapman, with some help from Wyatt Chapman. Date started. How about created? I don't know when it was, but it was probably a week ago, May 10th-ish. And today is May 18th. Description. Code for a form used to select random attributes of... it took me a lot of tries to still spell that word wrong. Of a level for Super Mario Maker 2. This includes a random game style, a random course style or course type, and a random primary part to inform the level design of a new level. There we go. And I think this is where we're going to stop. Hopefully my video doesn't crash.